Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the quiet solitude of dawn, a delicate dance of light and shadow illuminated the sanctuary of a personal closet, its contents meticulously arranged. Among the array of fabrics and colors, an emerald green wrap dress commanded attention, its vibrant hue a testament to a bold yet intimate sense of style. Stepping closer, a gentle touch brushed against the fabric, a gesture laced with anticipation and awareness. The figure, bathed in the morning light, paused at the mirror, their auburn hair framing a face that had blossomed, transformed during months of self-discovery and growth. The physical evolution, guided by hormone therapy, had quietly unfolded over the past year and a half, like a flower unfurling petal by petal. The world had changed during the pandemic, and so had Damien, who now saw Juliana looking back from every reflective surface. "Today's the day," Juliana whispered, voice pitched in the register she'd practiced during countless speech therapy sessions. Her hand hovered over the emerald green dress, the one she'd selected weeks ago for this specific occasion. First impressions mattered, especially when those impressions involved introducing colleagues to a completely authentic version of herself. The return to in-person work had been announced months ago, giving her time to prepare professionally and personally. What once seemed an impossible obstacle, transitioning while maintaining her career, had transformed into an unexpected opportunity. Working remotely had provided the perfect cover for the early stages of her journey. Juliana slipped the emerald dress from its hanger, admiring how the fabric caught the morning light. She stepped into it carefully, smoothing the material over her hips before securing the wrap style at her waist. The cut was conservative yet flattering, designed to project the exact professional image she wanted for her workplace debut. Her phone buzzed with a calendar notification. First day back, office. 45 minutes later, Juliana stood in the elevator of the downtown office building, breathing deeply as the numbers climbed. Her modest black pumps, chosen specifically for their professional appearance and manageable heel height, pinched slightly. Breaking them in would take time. The charcoal gray cardigan draped over her arm provided an extra layer of security, something to add if the office air conditioning proved too aggressive. "You've got this," she whispered to herself as the elevator slowed at the 12th floor. "You've earned this." The doors slid open to reveal the familiar yet suddenly foreign landscape of Stewart & Morris marketing. The reception area had been remodeled during the pandemic. New furniture, fresh paint, updated logo. But the layout remained fundamentally the same. Somehow, that made everything feel more surreal. Receptionist Donna glanced up, her professional smile freezing momentarily before shifting into something more genuine. "Good morning," Juliana said, voice steady and practiced. "I believe they're expecting me." Recognition dawned in Donna's eyes. "Of course. Welcome back." She fumbled momentarily before adding, "Your new keycard is ready. HR mentioned you'd need one with updated information." "Thank you." Juliana accepted the plastic card, noting with quiet satisfaction the name printed beneath her photo. Juliana Westbrook. "Martin wanted to see you when you arrived," Donna added, gesturing toward the corner office. "Something about a team meeting at 10. The walk to Martin's office felt like crossing an open field. Despite arriving early, several colleagues had already settled at their desks. Conversations paused. Heads turned. Some quickly looked away, while others offered hesitant smiles. Martin's door stood partially open. Juliana knocked lightly on the frame. "Come in! Come in!" he called, rising from behind his desk. Martin Delacroix had managed their creative team for nearly a decade. His tendency toward bluntness had always been tempered by genuine concern for his employees. "Good morning, Martin," Juliana said, stepping into the office. Martin blinked rapidly, his professional mask slipping just long enough to register surprise before recovering. "Well," he said finally, "HR briefed everyone last week, but seeing is something else entirely. You look professional. That's good." Juliana nodded, unsure how to respond to the awkward compliment. "I'll be direct," Martin continued, gesturing toward a chair. "The company's fully behind you. Legally has to be, of course, but the sentiment seems genuine from upstairs. There's sensitivity training scheduled for Thursday." He grimaced slightly. "Mandatory for everyone, though I worry it might make things more awkward than necessary." "I appreciate the support," Juliana said carefully, "but I'm hoping we can focus more on my work than my personal life. The Hartman campaign needs the revised copy by Friday, and I've developed some new approaches during the break." Martin's expression relaxed noticeably. "Yes, exactly. You were one of our strongest writers before, and I'm assuming that hasn't changed." He shuffled some papers on his desk. "Team meeting at 10. We'll go over the quarterly goals and the new project assignments. Your workspace is the same, though I believe IT has updated your computer login." "Thank you, Martin." Rising to leave, Juliana paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I'm still the same person who helped land the Brighter Days account last year. Just more myself now." Martin nodded. "I never doubted your abilities, Juliana. The adjustment period is just that. A period. We'll move past it." The marketing department occupied the eastern section of the 12th floor. 20 workstations arranged in pods of 4, with glass-walled conference rooms lining the perimeter. Juliana's station remained where it had always been, second pod from the windows, facing the creative department's idea wall. Her nameplate had been updated. The surface of her desk held a small plant that hadn't been there before, a peace lily with a simple card. "Welcome back." HR. Setting down her leather laptop bag, Juliana began arranging her workspace. The familiar routine helped steady her nerves as other team members filtered in. Some nodded acknowledgement. Others pretended intense fascination with their computer screens. Rebecca from the design team was the first to approach directly. "That color looks amazing on you," she said, gesturing to the emerald dress. "I've never been able to pull off jewel tones with my complexion." The simple, ordinary compliment, the kind exchanged between female colleagues countless times daily, nearly brought tears to Juliana's eyes. "Thank you," she managed. "I'm still figuring out what works in a professional setting." "Well, you've nailed it on day 1. Rebecca smiled. "We should grab lunch this week. I want to hear about the concept you mentioned in the email chain for Hartman. Sounded promising." By 10 o'clock, Juliana had settled into a rhythm. The initial staring had subsided somewhat, though conversations still hushed when she walked past. The company-wide meeting took place in the largest conference room, with department heads discussing return-to-office protocols and upcoming projects. Office manager Gerald devoted an uncomfortable 3 minutes to announcing Thursday's sensitivity training, using phrases like, "our changing workplace," and "embracing authentic identities," while carefully avoiding looking in Juliana's direction. "I'd like the ground to swallow me now," Juliana whispered to Rebecca, who had taken the seat beside her. "Gerald makes everything awkward," Rebecca whispered back. "Last year he spent 15 minutes explaining the new bathroom cleaning schedule. This is actually an improvement." After the meeting, Juliana made her way to the break room for coffee. 2 male colleagues from accounting abruptly ended their conversation when she entered. One muttered something about a report deadline and hurried out. The remaining accountant, Christopher, if she remembered correctly, cleared his throat.
They changed the coffee machine during shutdown. This one's more complicated, but makes better lattes.
Juliana studied the digital display on the new machine.
Thanks for the warning. I'd have been pressing buttons randomly. Learning curve on everything these days,
Christopher said with a shrug. He hesitated before adding,
Your presentation on the Mendelssohn account last December was impressive. Your media strategy saved us from a serious budget overrun.
You remember that? Juliana asked, surprised he'd bring up a virtual presentation from months ago.
Hard to forget good work.
Christopher filled his mug and headed toward the door.
Anyway, welcome back.
By lunchtime, Juliana had received 3 distinct reactions from colleagues: awkward avoidance, professional courtesy, and, most surprisingly, genuine warmth from a handful who seemed determined to make her transition back to office life as normal as possible. She declined invitations to join various lunch groups, needing a moment of solitude. Instead, she took her salad to a small courtyard outside the building. The spring air felt refreshing after a morning inside, and the privacy allowed her to decompress. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister. "How's it going? Need an emergency extraction?" Juliana smiled, typing back. "So far, so awkward, but better than expected. No extraction needed yet." "Proud of you, sis. Dinner tonight? You can give me all the workplace drama details." "Perfect. Your place at 7? The afternoon brought project meetings and content reviews. Juliana found herself gradually relaxing as discussions focused exclusively on marketing strategies and client needs. In these professional contexts, her gender presentation became secondary to her expertise, exactly as she'd hoped. During the creative team's brainstorming session, Juliana presented her concept for the Hartman campaign. The approach she'd developed during her time away, focusing on sustainability narratives rather than traditional luxury positioning, generated immediate enthusiasm.
"This is exactly the direction they need,"
Martin declared, scribbling notes.
"Their competitors are all stuck in the same visual language, but this gives Hartman distinction while appealing to a younger demographic."
"I've drafted some initial copy approaches," Juliana added, distributing printouts she'd prepared, "and suggested visual treatments that would complement the messaging." As the team discussed her proposal, building upon her core concepts, Juliana felt a quiet sense of validation. Here, in this creative space, she was being judged solely on the quality of her ideas. By 5 o'clock, the initial tension of the day had dissipated considerably. Juliana packed her laptop, exchanging goodbyes with nearby colleagues. The first day back had been exhausting in ways that had nothing to do with actual work. The constant awareness of being observed, analyzed, and categorized by everyone around her.
"Juliana!"
Martin called as she prepared to leave.
"Got a minute?"
She followed him to his office, wondering if some issue had arisen late in the day.
"I wanted to check in,"
he said, closing the door partially.
"First day back? How are you feeling about everything?"
"Honestly, it's been intense but manageable. Most people have been professional, some genuinely kind." Martin nodded.
"The Hartman concept was excellent work. Exactly the fresh perspective we needed."
"Thank you."
"One more thing,"
Martin added, reaching into his desk drawer.
"This came from corporate yesterday."
He handed her a small box. Inside was a nameplate for her office door, the kind reserved for senior team members with private offices. "I don't understand," Juliana said, reading her name engraved on the polished metal. "The reorganization included some promotions that weren't announced yet. You're our new senior content strategist, effective immediately. Office 1207 is yours starting tomorrow. Juliana stared at the nameplate. But I've only been with the company 3 years. There are others with more seniority.
None with your talent for conceptual thinking.
Martin interrupted.
This promotion was decided before your transition announcement, based entirely on your work last year. The timing is coincidental, though admittedly convenient since we're reassigning spaces anyway.
I don't know what to say.
Say you'll have the Hartman presentation ready by next Wednesday.
Martin smiled.
The promotion comes with higher expectations, naturally.
Of course. Thank you, Martin. Leaving the building, Juliana felt lighter than she had in months. The day had brought challenges, certainly, but also unexpected affirmations. Her professional identity remained intact, had even advanced, despite the dramatic personal changes. The second day proved easier than the first. Juliana chose a charcoal gray wrap dress with subtle pinstripes, paired again with the practical black pumps. Moving into her new office occupied the morning, with IT setting up additional equipment and HR delivering new business cards. The office, small but with an actual door and window, represented more than just professional advancement. It provided a sanctuary where Juliana could occasionally retreat from the constant scrutiny that followed her through open workspaces. By Wednesday, patterns had emerged. Certain colleagues made a point of engaging with Juliana regularly, maintaining the same professional relationships they'd had before. Others limited interactions to strictly necessary communications. A small but vocal minority went out of their way to demonstrate support, sometimes in ways that drew more attention than Juliana preferred. Marketing coordinator Patrice had taken to loudly addressing her as girl and sister at every opportunity, in what seemed a well-intentioned but uncomfortable attempt at solidarity. After the third such instance on Wednesday morning, Rebecca rolled her eyes dramatically behind Patrice's back, making Juliana stifle a laugh. Some people think acceptance means treating you like a character from reality TV, Rebecca whispered later. Thursday brought the promised sensitivity training, conducted by an outside consultant who specialized in workplace diversity issues. The entire marketing department sat through a 90-minute presentation on gender identity, appropriate terminology, and professional respect. Throughout the presentation, Juliana maintained a neutral expression while internally cringing at being the obvious catalyst for the entire exercise. The consultant never singled her out directly, but occasional glances in her direction made the connection unmistakable. When the session ended, office manager Gerald approached with an eager expression.
Was that helpful? Did we cover everything appropriately?
It was very comprehensive, Juliana replied diplomatically.
I appreciate the company's commitment to creating an inclusive environment.
Gerald beamed.
Wonderful! I've ordered some additional reading materials for the break room. Very informative pamphlets.
Once Gerald moved out of earshot, Christopher from accounting leaned over.
He's already planning to feature this in the company newsletter, complete with a diversity stock photo, I'm guessing.
Perfect. Juliana sighed.
Just what I wanted, to be the poster child for corporate inclusion initiatives. If it helps, the accounting department skipped the sensitivity training entirely. Our director said, and I quote, "We care about accurate numbers, not what people wear to produce them."
Juliana couldn't help laughing. That's oddly refreshing.
Accountants, Christopher shrugged. We've evolved beyond caring about anything but spreadsheets.
Friday marked the end of Juliana's first week back. For the occasion, she wore a mint green blazer over a simple black dress, an outfit she'd specifically chosen to project confidence for her morning presentation to the executive team. The Hartman campaign concept had advanced rapidly, with design and content teams building upon her initial framework. Martin had unexpectedly insisted that Juliana lead the presentation herself, citing her promotion and conceptual ownership, standing before the company executives, most of whom she'd only seen in passing before.
Juliana felt a momentary wave of anxiety that had nothing to do with her gender presentation and everything to do with professional scrutiny. "The luxury goods market has shifted dramatically," she began, her practiced voice steady. "Hartman's traditional positioning no longer resonates with their target demographic, who increasingly value sustainability and ethical production alongside craftsmanship." For 20 minutes, Juliana outlined the campaign strategy, supported by visual mock-ups and market analysis. The executives asked pointed questions, which she answered with growing confidence. "This represents a significant departure from their historical branding," noted CEO Eleanor Richards. "What evidence suggests they're ready for such a dramatic pivot?" "Their sales data shows a 30% decline in their under 40 demographic," Juliana responded. "Meanwhile, their competitors who've adopted sustainability messaging have seen growth in precisely that segment." Eleanor nodded, making notes. "And you believe this approach can be implemented without alienating their traditional customer base?" "The strategy deliberately maintains core quality messaging while expanding the narrative. We're not replacing their heritage story, but enriching it to include values that matter to younger consumers." When the presentation concluded, Eleanor stood to shake Juliana's hand. "Impressive work, Ms. Westbrook. Martin was right to push you forward for the promotion. I look forward to seeing this campaign develop." Later that afternoon, the marketing team gathered for their traditional Friday social hour, a custom that had been paused during remote work. Juliana hesitated before joining, unsure how her presence would affect the dynamic. Rebecca appeared at her office door. "Coming to social hour? I hear HR authorized the good wine since it's our first week back." "I'm not sure if people would be comfortable." "Oh, please," Rebecca interrupted. "After that sensitivity training, everyone's desperate to prove how comfortable they are. Besides, Martin's going to announce your promotion officially." The conference room had been transformed with snacks, drinks, and background music. Juliana entered quietly, accepting a glass of wine from the makeshift bar. Martin clinked a glass for attention. "First, congratulations to everyone for surviving our return to office life. I know Zoom meetings in pajama bottoms were comfortable, but it's good to have the energy of in-person collaboration again." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. "Second, I'm officially announcing Juliana Westbrook's promotion to Senior Content Strategist. Her work on the Hartman campaign exemplifies the innovative thinking we need to remain competitive." Applause followed, with several colleagues offering congratulations. The moment felt surreal, professional recognition completely separate from her personal journey. As the gathering continued, Juliana found herself in conversation with colleagues about upcoming projects, industry trends, and office politics. For brief stretches, she was simply another marketing professional unwinding after a productive week. "Your mint blazer is fabulous," commented Heather from Digital Marketing. "That color would wash me out completely." "It was a calculated risk," Juliana admitted. "But I wanted something memorable for the executive presentation." "Well, it worked. Eleanor never takes notes during presentations, and she was scribbling like crazy during yours." The conversation shifted to upcoming campaigns, client difficulties, and weekend plans. Normal workplace banter that had nothing to do with Juliana's gender identity. As the gathering wound down, Martin approached with a satisfied expression. "The executives were impressed today. Eleanor specifically mentioned your poise during the questioning." "Thank you for the opportunity to present directly. It means a lot." Martin nodded. "I had my concerns about how everything would play out this week, but you've handled it with remarkable professionalism. The work remains excellent, which is what ultimately matters. That was always my hope, that my work would speak louder than my appearance. For the most part it has." Martin glanced around the room. "There will always be those who focus on superficial matters
but they generally reveal themselves as the least valuable contributors anyway.
As people began dispersing for the weekend, Juliana gathered her things. The mint blazer had unexpectedly become a symbol of her new professional identity. Confident, polished, and authentically herself. Rebecca stopped by on her way out. Successful first week back, I'd say. Any weekend plans to celebrate? Dinner with my sister tonight. Otherwise, just decompressing from the most intensely scrutinized week of my professional life. Well, you survived with flying colors. Next week will be easier. People have shorter attention spans than you'd think. Some new drama will capture everyone's interest, and you'll just be Juliana from marketing with the good campaign ideas.
That's the dream, Juliana smiled.
The office had largely emptied when Juliana finally headed toward the elevator. Christopher from accounting emerged from a nearby conference room, juggling several folders.
"Congratulations on the promotion,"
he said.
"Well deserved from what I heard."
Thank you, though I wasn't expecting it to be announced quite so publicly.
That's Martin. Never misses a chance for department theatrics.
He hesitated before adding,
A few of us are grabbing dinner at Rossini's if you'd like to join. No pressure, just an open invitation.
The unexpected inclusion caught Juliana off guard. I have plans with my sister tonight, but I appreciate the invitation.
Next time, perhaps.
He nodded cordially.
Have a good weekend, Juliana.
The simple exchange, normal, casual workplace socialization, felt like a victory. Outside, the spring evening had turned cool. Juliana buttoned her mint blazer as she walked toward the parking garage. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister. Still on for 7? I made your favorite pasta. Absolutely, on my way soon. It's been quite a week. Can't wait to hear everything. So proud of you. Reaching her car, Juliana paused to look back at the office building. The floor-to-ceiling windows reflected the sunset, turning the glass into sheets of gold and amber. Somewhere on the 12th floor was her new office, with her name on the door. Her legitimate professional space, earned through talent and hard work. The week had brought moments of discomfort, certainly. The awkward stares, halted conversations, and occasional overcompensation had been exhausting to navigate. Yet beneath those surface tensions, a fundamental truth had emerged. Her professional identity remained intact. Her ideas still mattered. Her contributions were still valued. Driving toward her sister's apartment, Juliana felt the accumulated tension of the week beginning to dissipate. The road ahead would have challenges, both personal and professional, but the first and most dreaded hurdle had been cleared. At a stoplight, she caught her reflection in the rearview mirror. Auburn hair framed a face that looked tired but content. The mint blazer's color complemented her complexion in a way she hadn't fully appreciated before. The light changed, and Juliana drove on, already mentally composing the week's events into stories for her sister. The awkward sensitivity training, Gerald's earnest pamphlets, Rebecca's eye rolling behind Patrice's back, the unexpected promotion and presentation to executives, normal workplace experiences filtered through her unique journey, the mundane and extraordinary interwoven, just as they would be going forward, just as they should be. The setting sun cast long shadows across the city streets as Juliana continued toward her sister's apartment. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for now, she had navigated the return to professional life with her dignity and career intact. The mint green blazer, which had begun the day as just another carefully selected garment, now felt like armor, a symbol of survival and, perhaps more importantly, of thriving. Not everyone would understand or accept her journey. That reality had been clear from the varied reactions of her colleagues. But enough people had demonstrated that her professional value transcended their personal discomfort. In the corporate world, results often spoke louder than prejudice. Her ideas had power. Her contributions mattered. And that, Juliana decided as she pulled into her sister's driveway, was foundation enough to build upon. One day at a time, one project at a time, crafting a professional identity that was neither defined by nor separate from her personal truth, simply an authentic expression of her whole self.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!